Okay, Ebusiafo, good afternoon, good morning, good evening. This is one of those unscripted. It was unannounced for you because I wanted to see if it would be possible to get my guests to come chat. I do quite a lot of things on the platform. One of the things that I do on the platform, and I'm very happy about, is the fact. Say, yeah, unscripted interviews, and we do many different things on here. Mechiamo, Mechiamo. May introducing the guest in a minute. I'm just waiting for my network to catch up with itself. And when it catches up with itself, I can introduce my guest and we can get straight into the discussion. But I am Amansimi as usual. And then I am continuing a system I started before. Now, say with the view, say nipa no amene wo mudi nkomo no will share their inspirational stories, and those who need inspiration might find that inspiration from my guests and their lives. Nti ene many also finance reading nkomo. Obekyerɛ me baby a free and how he's become who he is. Maybe you are where he is, and you wonder how you can become what people like that have become into a inspirational. You are ready to support Ebenezer. I really appreciate it. It's a live chat. I will talk to a lot of people on the SAR live chats. No. I intend to bring you many profiles, a variety of people who become very successful. I want you to see how ordinary people are able to use core principles to change, to grow, to develop. And no home komo and I did. It's also for the meme friend, also for Michael Annancy. Those of you who are regular on my platforms, you will recognize that Rev Michael Oasis for program on Wednesdays, family time. But about family time, you can't marriage. Sometimes it doesn't really tell you the beginning of stories. That's where, hey, Pastor Fred, you know, Pastor Fred, so he knows it, but some of them might not know Kra. So hopefully those who don't know Kra will pick up a thing or two today as we talk. Into Reverend Annancy, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
If I try to say,
Yami Adum.
And then Yamiase. Eti me ba brand no person who how we put me Pastor Annancy. How does one become a pastor, Nancy? Where does the story start?
Well, it takes years, and it's taking a journey of dedication. It's taking a lot of patience to work all these. I don't know where to start straight, say how I'm mayor so forth, but I think, sir, Obian. I'm always speaking English or Tree. Which one?
Oh, we can mix them. Give it to me.
And can name person be tree, Obi be from some my boo tree.
Oh no. Something here can be. Now allow me and send me soon in every
Yeah. So my life history it's quite unique, and I know everybody's is very very unique. I did not just start off being a pastor, but I in 1988 is when I gave my life up to Christ, and it did not just start like that. I had a real encounter. I remember I was living with my dad. That was 1988 in our. We had an uncompleted story building. He's finished the downside, the first story, and we had on the ground floor. We had some tenants in it, and I was living there with him, and I went to take a shower one day, and in the shower, because I was about to go do my own thing, and in the shower, it's where I heard in my voice, Michael, if you die, where are you going? And I heard it twice. Yes, it was strange. It was twice. So I stopped, turned off the shower, and I was the only person there because all the guys had gone to work. And so I actually walked out of the shower and then came through the hallway to see if somebody was around and talking to me. And I found nobody. So I went in back again, and this is November of 1988, November 6th. And I went back into the shower and I had the same thing again. And right there, man, I just felt the, it wasn't heaviness, but I felt a load lifted up of me. But it was just that I could not do anything but just weep. So I boiled down and I cried because I realized that it was like books were open before me, things were just being said about me. And so I spent about 30 minutes in the shower just kneeling down and just crying. And then right from there, I went out to go talk to a pastor. And I told him, this is the encounter I had. And then from there, he started directing my path. And his name is Reverend Divine Mensa from Takrade. And he told me, okay, this is an encounter and this is what you have to do. And from then, I started really, really finding ways to serve God. Went to all my friends' homes and told them, I'm a new person, I'm changed, I'm not going back to my old ways. I have not been perfect. And we'll talk about that. I've not been perfect, but I'm still, God is still working on me, and that is what it is. We're all working towards, He's working as to perfection. And I'm not a perfect person, but I'm working my way towards perfection. So that is the start of me becoming a pastor. Well, from there, I went to, well, there was a guy who lived very close to me. We just finished our high school and we had to do national service. Because when you finish high school in Ghana, I think when you finish the sixth form, that's what we call it, 2 years after the high school, you have to do what we call the national service for a year. And so myself and my very good friend, he's called Aplabotia. He's now a lawyer. And we lived just about 3 blocks away. So I went to his house, and that was where the pastor was living. And he took me under his arms, and we started going to church. That's where I met Nana and Dan, one of the best singers who started gospel in Ghana. And then I joined a church called Christ Victory Church. So that was where my growth started. Christ Victory Church, well, I had the opportunity in less than 6 months. And Emma, you can cut me at any point, please, because
Oh, please
I,
roll.
I have a lot of passion when I talk about these things. And yeah, Reverend Joseph Gardner Planch was my first pastor. And he was a great guy. So in his church is where I started. I started teaching, I started leading prayer, and I also started leading praise and worship.
Okay.
And that's how it started. That's how it started.
No, that's not how it started. That's how the ministry started. See, I dig and I dig very deep. The ministry is exciting, but there is more before the ministry. So tell me about your family circumstances. What kind of family breeds so many pastors?
Well,
I
we,
want to know.
yeah, we are a family of well of 10. I'll say 10, because my mom and my dad actually had 9 of us, and then my dad had a step. Well, we call her, the word is step, but she's actually our sister Joy. My dad had her with another lady when my dad was in Germany, and so Joy lives in Germany now. So we're 10 of us. So we're 5 boys. Am I right? Yeah, I think 5 boys and 5 girls. If I'm right, but it's a huge family. Yeah. So let me see. Me, Fred, Manasseh, Premise, Jake. So 5 boys and 5 girls, and we are all doing. By God's grace, we're all doing. We're doing well. I pastor a church here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma in the U.S. Fred also associate pastors a church in Telford, London. Jake has his own church. He started a church in Belgium. And Hilda, which is one of our sisters, she is also a pastor with the church in.
I didn't even know that one.
Oh yeah, I have a sister like that, and all the others are still in Christ. And every one of them, the beautiful thing is that all of them they play some. All the boys play some kind of, well, some instruments. I don't play anything. I can play a little bit of a drum, and that's how I started also loving the things, the instruments. And the one that comes after me is Primus. Primus, he calls himself an elder. When he walks to your church, he sits right in front where the pastor sits. That's where, even if he's new in the church, that's where he sits. He calls himself an elder of a church. So and we love him so much for that. My mom and my dad we're a middle class family. My dad worked with at a place called the Abosso Glass Factory way back in Ghana. Yes, and that's where he lived with my mom. That's where they lived and had all of us. So mainly we're from Accra, the Greater Accra region, but that's where we lived and grew up. So we speak the Twi, we speak the Fanti. That's our common language that we speak.
Interesting. So if you want to have a lot of pasta kids, one, you have to be Ga, and then you live in Central region, and that might be the formula. Tell me, how it's interesting. How did you all independently become pastors, or did one become a pastor and convert the rest?
Well, it's a seed sown by our mother. One of the things our mom did with us was every evening, she made sure we were all together at the place. Every evening, we'll sit together with her, we'll sing hymns. And I'll say all of us were born, we've been through church all our lives. Because when my mother was pregnant, she would take us to church. She went to church, she was a Presbyterian. So we went to church all through our life, and we've been in church all through our lives. But I said it was started by my mom just taking us to church and talking to us about the things of God. Where
Yeah.
we where we lived as kids, there was a man who was our watchman. So back home, my father was a part of the senior staff at a place at Georg Glass Factory worked, and so we had a watchman, a man who comes and stays with us. And through the night, he stays out. And what he did was he made sure he guided our bungalows, so no thief, nothing. All right. And this man will come. I remember him very well. I just don't remember his name. When he comes on his duty, he was part of the Church of Pentecost. And he will gather all of us, the kids, outside on our staircase. And he will teach us the Bible, and he will teach us songs.
Oh
And
wow.
yes, he did this every time. So I will say, my wife and I will talk about it. He is one of the most instrumental people in our lives. I think it was about just the first four of us or the five of us. And this man for years will every night when he comes will sing with us, will teach us part of the Bible. And he gave us more than even our church was giving to us at that time. I don't know where he is. I've tried to find him just to go back and say thank you. Because I love to go back and tell the people who pushed me on the ladder. I always want to appreciate them. I never, it's no matter what they did to me, whether bad or good, there was something good out of even the bad that happened to my life. So I always want to go back and say a thank you. And so he was part of it. My mom was part of it. I think what really engineered all these was the love that our mom showed us, uh, the love our dad showed us, and the times that we were just freely allowed to just go to church and walk through church and do the things of God. Who started church first? I didn't start church first. I think Fred. Well, I joined about three churches before I got to the U.S. My first church was Christ Victory Church. From there, I found my wife, and then we moved on and had, we moved on to another church because Pastor Prosper was in that church, one of our friends, and he comes on the Oasis program. He was in that church, and what happened was that he was a good praise and worship leader. And so my wife went there and said, man, this pastor here, man, he's very good at praise and worship. And the way my wife talked about him, I felt, man, if I don't, we were not married then. So I thought if I don't leave my church to go my wife, I was gonna lose my wife to this guy because he wasn't also married. And so that was the second church we went to. And then I left. We the church was going to go to some other people, so we left that church to go to another church, which is Springs of Life, in in Sacramento Estates. Before we got to Springs of Life, I was then in Bible school then. So that was it. I was then in the Bible school. I became I grew. I went up the ladder to become the director of the first third year. We call it the School of Ministry. That's for those who want to be pastors. I was the first director of the one that was opened in Accra under Reverend Ray Johnson and Joyce Lee Johnson. And so I was the first year. I was the first director there. So whilst I was teaching, I met this pastor and I invited him to come on. He's Reverend Jonathan Ekuban, Springs of Life Chapel International, Bachelor. So I invited him to come on. So he came on to be a teacher. And when he started his church in his garage, actually started from his garage. It was like a garage, but the front, we joined, my wife and I joined him there. And then later, Pastor Prosper also joined. So that has been our relationship. Pastor Prosper also joined in with the wife, and then we became members of the church.
So Andy nicked your wife, and then you nicked her back, and then he found a wife, and then you all joined together in one church.
Yeah, Pastor
This is
Prosper,
a very interesting journey.
He's been going with me everywhere.
It's a very interesting journey, but you see, you've still not gone far back enough. I want to go back to childhood. Hi, Emma. Hello, everybody. I want to go back to childhood. I want to explore what life was like when you were growing up. So you said a little bit about your dad's job. You said some things about mom, but what was it like growing up? Were you the kind of family who had a silver spoon in your mouth? Did you have everything you needed? Did you hustle like the rest of us did? But where did you start life?
My mom comes from a very rich family. My father comes from a very poor family.
Lovely.
Yes, my dad was actually poor. He actually eloped my mom to go to Takwa to live because my mom's parents never loved my dad because he didn't have anything. He came from a very, very poor family. And my mom's family, they had everything. My mom's father even did part, I understand, he did part of the motorway. So, yeah, so he was a real rich man. Growing up, we had enough. That's what I'll say. We had enough. We did not have too much. We did not have too little. My dad's love was anything you wanted. That's how he showed his love. Anything you wanted, it was available. And we had every food we needed was there. We had a piggery pool right behind at our house. We had chicken. We had goats. Yeah, because we lived in Takwa, and Takwa, the outskirts of Takwa is a little bit, it's bushy. And so while we lived at the bungalow, we had an opportunity. So we did not go through any pain, even the 81, 82, the what do you call it, the starvation or the famine that came to Ghana. No, we didn't see that. We were young though, but we had everything. So growing up, that was it. When it came to discipline, discipline was one of the things that was not proper in our home because my dad did not know anything better. What he knew was what he was doing, and I did not live with my grandparents to even understand what he did because I didn't meet them. But his discipline was very, very abusive. He felt it was love because he never wanted us to get out of course. He wanted us always to be in line with whatever we were doing. But at the same time, the way he made it discipline was so good. I remember my brother, my younger one, the one that comes after me and I, we loved swimming. So we'll walk about 4 miles to 6 miles to go swim. And when we're coming back, people may see us because they knew us, and then they'll tell him. And I tell you, the moment you get home, anything he grabs, it can be a shoe, it can be a pan, it can be a pot, it can be wood, whatever, it's coming at you. And that was the kind of man. But I tell you honestly, he did it sincerely. He was sincerely wrong with what he was doing, but that was what he knew to do. And I will never, ever advise or ask anybody to even go that way because it was pure abuse on us. It wasn't mentally abusing, but we're talking about physical abuse on us. Yes. My dad and my mom never had any altercation that brought up like a fight or something. When my mom starts talking or my dad is just angry or something, he had a walking stick and it's a sword in it. And he takes it and walks out of the house. He will go for about 30 minutes, 15, 20 minutes and come back. by then my mother would have cooled down. If not, he would just walk into my mother's closet and get a wig or get a black my mom and walk out, and everybody laughs. My mom laughs, and that's settled. And so he was very good at our mom, but he was not. When it came to discipline, the way he disciplined us, no, was out of line. It's not right today. It's not right today. So we did not have it all rosy. We had good times. Everything was good. But and we went to one of the best schools. He made sure we went to very good school. We went to Takwa Goldfields Preparatory School. That was for expatriates and the minors, yes, the senior stars. But he was able to afford for some of us to get there, and that's how much he loved us.
That's amazing. That's a very good childhood. Right. So when we first started, you said something about not being an angel. I want to know about that period when you were not an angel.
Um, what I meant to say is I've had my share of ups and downs.
Right.
I've had my share of the good, the bad, the ugly, but I have made every good I can out of all the challenges I have had. I have not had any opportunity to change something, forgive somebody, or do something right that I never took an opportunity to do it. I have. So when I say I'm not an angel, I'm just saying that, look, I'm not as perfect as anybody. There's not perfect. We're all working towards perfection. And we're all, look, we're all work in progress. And I think we'll get there. We'll get there. We'll get there if we're patient.
Okay. So a boy from Takwa. You've been to a good school. You went to, did you go to sixth form in the same area?
I went to Takwa Secondary School my first 5 years, well, my first 5 years. And I went to Secondary College,
Okay.
Taco, for my sixth form. And then from there, my dad passed away 1990. So when my dad passed, I had two of my brothers and one sister still in what do you call it? Still in secondary school, in high school. Uh, and all the look, they are all the three pastors. They were all still in high school.
Okay.
So I found it very important to quit school or advance in anything and to take care of them. So what I did was I started as a what do you call sand and stone contractor. So I
Okay.
just go around and sell sand and stone to people who are building, just to be a support to them. That's all. My mom was doing her best, but I felt as an oldest brother, I needed to do something. So I supported them for all of them to get out of the high school. And then right after that, I realized, okay, it is also time for me to get married, so my life will continue. So I moved on to marry. And then so it took me a couple of years off. And then I started working as a clearing agent.
Okay.
I did clearing for a little bit, but it was one job I never liked. It's not a bad job, but morally, I felt it wasn't good for me because I saw how people took other people's stuff, um, how things were done there were not just right for me. People just sell like corned beef and rice and stuff in vehicles, and the agents would just open it. I saw my boss do it, open it and take what they want out of it. And I felt, well, I've never been to the out of state, so I didn't know how people suffer to get stuff. And so I felt, no, I'm not going to do this. So I stayed on for about 2 years, and then my Bible school director called me one day and said, Michael, I want to work with you. I had a wife, I had two kids then. So what happened was that he just invited me and said, well, I want you to quit your job and come. This was out of faith because I was a person who provided for the home. So for 3 months, he never paid me anything. So what I did was, I bought a deep freezer and I had some money. So my wife's first business, because she's come out of school, and I married her very early. I married my wife when she was 20 years. So
Oh,
we got married very early. She had come out of school, and I decided, okay, this is what we're gonna do. I'm no longer working as a clearing agent. So I'm going to be buying pig feet and fish from Tema Harbor. So then we wrap it. Some of it she cuts them and puts them in rubber and then freezes it. And then we had a sign in front of a house we were renting. And so people came in and really, really bought. It was a good business for us. So people came in and bought. And so that's my wife's first business. And I stayed with my director, Reverend Ray Johnson, for 3 months. He never paid me. He never said anything to me.
But how were you supposed to feed?
Well, at the end of it, I asked him at the end, why didn't you pay me? He says, well, I wanted to see whether your heart was here or you were here for the money.
Wow.
Yes, it's not understandable. It's unacceptable because when you're working anywhere, you should be paid.
And you had family.
Yeah, I had a family. I had a car that I drove from home to the place, and I used my car even sometimes to pick him, the wife, to go places. They did buy me gas too, but there was no pay for 3 months. There was no salary for 3 months. But he said, well, it was to see whether your heart was here or you were here for the money. And I thank God my heart was there and not for the money. Because after that was when he made me the director of the Bible school.
Right.
And when I took up the directorship of the Bible school, it was then that I came over to the States. I met a lot of other people, missionaries who came in, and I was taking care of them. And that is how I also had the opportunity to just come. Yeah.
Right. So in the end, it worked, but you need patience, right?
Yes, it is.
You know, for a family man with no income for 3 months, and for you to patiently suffer that, nah, that's almost the quality of a saint. I don't think I will last 2 weeks.
It wasn't easy, but I loved him. The other thing was that my passion was also, there's two things. It's either you have a passion for something, and if you have a passion for something, you see, when you have a passion, you will always be driven to do what you want to do.
Yeah.
I had a passion of just teaching the Bible. So just sitting at the office was just a life fulfilled for me. He's an American. Yeah, he's a Black American and the wife. Very beautiful people. But I love them to death. And I tell him, he's still my boss. There's so many things that still goes on with me and them even at this point.
Well, that's a lesson right there, isn't it? There's a lesson in patience.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah. Not even just the young me, even the current me will look at you like, how am I supposed to feed again? And I probably would ask you because it just doesn't make a lot of sense that I'm here for 3 months and not paying. That's interesting. So I've learned one. Patience has always been a virtue I need to get more of.
Yes, we need patience.
Yes, it's the one virtue when the Lord was distributing, I was not available to collect a fair share. I was otherwise engaged doing other things. Right, we are on a journey. So those of you who've only just joined us might not understand. This is my personality profile interview. I am having a chat with Reverend Michael Annancy. Those who watch me on the Oasis show would see that we are on together on Wednesday. But the point of this segment, this series of conversations, is for you to meet ordinary people. People who come from the same communities you did, people who are doing interesting things with their lives, in the hope that those of us who haven't quite made it, those of us who are still in the trenches, those of us who are having to wait for 3 months to get paid, might hear some of these stories. It might inspire you. It might encourage you to keep fighting because, well, somebody has clearly made it and got benefit out of it for waiting for 3 months for his pay. Hopefully, people from communities similar to what my guests are from might see that there might be light at the end of the tunnel. That's the point. Because we do need, it's a period in life where it's quite difficult to remain upbeat. It is quite difficult to see possibilities. It's difficult to be encouraged. So I'm hoping that these conversations will encourage me. It will encourage those of you who watch it. Share it. You never know who needs a little bit of upliftment.
That's right.
I'm having a conversation with Rev. He tells me that he left a church to go claim his wife because he didn't want another pastor to nick her. That is very interesting. I am going to that side of the conversation. Mrs. Anansi.
I said that again.
Tell us a little bit about this Mrs. Anansi who makes you leave a church and go elsewhere.
Okay, so uh, my wife comes from a family of, well, there are five of them, three girls. All three are married to lighthouse pastors. All the three girls. The two guys are very great. They're very, very much in church. I love my father-in-law so much. I met my wife when I joined my first church and I was teaching, and her auntie, we call her Auntie Dora, was part of the church. And every day I taught service. She liked me so much that right after church, she would tell me we're going home to have lunch. And so she'll take me home and we'll go have lunch. And that's how it started. When I went home there, I became part of the family. I was a very good friend to my in-laws, the youngest brother, Pastor Dumfe. He's also a pastor. And we were very, very good. So just visiting the home, just having lunch, just being part of them. My wife showed up, came one day from school. It was vacation, and I met her. Actually, I did not have any intention about her because I'm about a couple of years older than her. And when we talked, she said, I'm not marrying anybody who is more than a year or two over me. So I never thought about anything. But every time she came to church and we were around as family, there were other people who were like, "Oh, Michael, if you want to marry, no, she's too young. Go get some of these other ladies in the church." But I tell you honestly, the more they said that, the more I was looking at what is wrong with her. What's about her that people are saying, "Oh, if you want to marry, don't go marry this one and marry that one, marry not her." So I think that actually started our bonding. Our bonding became very good. I started walking her home. We became very, very good friends. And one of her best, well, when I get there in the mornings, she would just do just cocoa drink, hot cocoa with just fried egg. And I tell you, if you ate it, you realize you will know that you have to come back. So that was the key to my going constantly to the house because I like the cocoa drink and I like the way she made the eggs and the bread. So I'll just tell my friends, hey, it will be like 8 a.m. And I tell my friends, hey, we have to go past there and just see if we can get some. And when we go, she will make it for us. And that's how the relationship started. And so I realized, man, there's something about her that I like. She's calm, she's beautiful. And if we talk about wisdom, I have never met a woman who has pure wisdom from God. And I'll say that again. She has pure wisdom because when you talk to her, she's very calm at hearing things, but the answer she gives back to you. And I tell you, part of my success has been because I have listened to her. I listen to her. She
Why?
tells me things, yes, and I follow. And I've told many men, look, if you listen to your wife, look, we cannot be bossy all the time. If you listen, there is some knowledge that women have that I tell you. It's needed at certain times to just break you through, and that's what it is. And that's the kind of woman I have. She's a great woman, a great wife, a great what do you call it, mother to my kids. I have three kids. I have one works well. Two of them are out of home now. One was about to marry this August, but it did not happen because of all these things. But very wonderful kids. One is a PD. What was it? PD is a police officer, and then the older one works at oil company here. And my younger girl, she's home with us, and she's a good mother to us. She's one of the best cooks. I tell you, if you eat her jollof rice, if you eat her banku and okra, name it. So
When the
yes,
corona ends, you have to invite me for a seminar in the church, and I am coming to eat. I
okay.
can't taste it.
Don't worry. You're gonna come. You're gonna come. Pastor Joe Beecham was with me last November, and
Right.
he does not like to eat a lot, but Every time Joe Beecham got to ask, "Are you ready to eat?" He says, "Yes, I'm ready to eat." And I love to host all my people, my pastors in my house because it's more comforting than the hotel. Yeah, so I really love them in my home. And when they come, they feel good. They feel good. My wife it will make you feel good. Yeah, she's very welcoming, and that's what we need in every woman. We need women to be welcoming. That's what makes the home. You see, there's a difference between a house and a home. We're talking about a home. Yeah, when you have a wife who's very welcoming, it makes a home very great. And
So, Evelyn, this is not a political show. This is a live show. This is a live talk. So, amongst the politics and everything else, we also need to balance things out a little bit. We are having conversations with
no,
people
no.
from ordinary backgrounds who have taken extraordinary turns, people who would inspire ordinary people like my young self. Even my old self just need inspiration. So I want to talk to people who would inspire me. So that's what we're doing. We're having a conversation. I'm trying to understand where the pastor comes from. They are a very interesting family. I've got to say to you, everybody is a pastor in the house. Everybody. The wife is a pastor. The man is a pastor. All his brothers are pastors. Even a sister is a pastor. A brother-in-law is a pastor. And I don't get it. I really want to understand how one group of people all become pastors. I want to understand. And that's what we're talking about. You were just about to ask. Yes, Marie, this is not political. This is a live conversation.
Yeah.
So we are having a conversation about where Pastor Nancy comes from, about his family life. Maybe we will learn one or two things. Until that point says she just woke up a minute and saw this lovely discussion. Yeah. JJ Rowling started a coup d'etat when you were sleeping. I'm telling you. And I could say, I'm sure Fufu Papa B, because this man was actually hooked into marriage by Coco and Chibo. I've heard a lot of people being wooed by all sorts of things, but
Yeah.
Coco and Chibo, this is the first time I've heard it. If maybe we might Mrs. Anansi to teach a few young ladies how to do that.
Yes.
Maybe it might incite a few other marriages. It's interesting. Yes, 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 yes. God bless. God bless, Pastor. I am still on this journey and I want to understand. So he's told us a little bit about leaving work to support his brothers and sisters, coming back and getting married, working for somebody for 3 months and not getting paid, and being patient enough to wait that process till the end. Now, that for me is inspiration. That kind of patience is one which doesn't come naturally to me at all. I am one who grabs the bull by the horns and I break the horns off most of the time. This whole patience with 3 months of waiting, that's something else. Let's talk about ministry a little bit at the moment. What is ministry like in Oklahoma? What do you do?
Ministry is great here in Oklahoma. We have a multicultural, non-denominational church. We started about April. Let's see. Our first main service was August the 9th, 2015. When I first came to Oklahoma City, well, 1999 was my first time coming to the state, and I visited New Jersey. A group of friends had I was coming, a family, very good family. Had I was coming over, and they decided, "Oh, if you're coming, we'll buy your ticket." So they bought me a ticket, and I went there. But I was on road to go to Tulsa for a conference for the Bible school that I was working with, Victory International Bible Training School in Tama. And so when I got to Tulsa, that was the first time I came in. And then I went back. But I had cousins here in Oklahoma. So when I called them, I said, "Oh, I was in Tulsa the last time." So, "Oh, you were very close. So when you come back again, come visit us." So in 2000, I came over, and that was my first time I came actually to Oklahoma City. When I came to Oklahoma, I stayed with my cousins, the Mortys, very good family. I stayed with them, and then I left and went back. Right after that, let me just go back a little bit, and then we'll come back to ministry. Right after that, I had registered at Central University. So I was in Central University for a year. And
Okay.
this is one of the things that I looked at. When I was in Central, there was this economics teacher called Paragon, and I know many people will know him. Anytime he walked to class, he would say, "Nobody ever gets a B or A in my class. The highest you can get is a C." And I had never done economics, so just imagine what I was thinking. So after my first year of enduring that pastor, that not pastor, sorry, that lecturer at Central University, I realized if I want to do 4 years here, I'm not going to get what I wanted.
Mm.
I was then working also I was working for Samaritan's Press, Operation Christmas Child. It's a program for Franklin Graham, Billy Graham's son.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was the national coordinator for Ghana and West Africa. So
Okay.
every week we did a shoebox program. So every week I go to like the West Coast. I'll start from maybe Guinea, and then go all the way down to Abidjan, and then I'll come home. So I do like 5 or 6 countries, and then I just meet with leadership. I go to the ministry. I went to the ministry and spoke with the Minister of Education about what the program was for, and then because we were taking shoeboxes to kids in deprived areas.
Yeah.
And so I'll go do a training with teachers or with churches, and then I'll come back. So I was part of the Samaritan Space program, the team that was working back home. But I was actually directly in charge of my country, Ghana. I was in charge. So I did that for a couple of years before I came. So when I was in school and doing that, when Liberia uh, moved Charles Taylor over to Nigeria in 2003, they had said that they wanted pastors or they wanted people to do reconciliation in counseling.
Uh-huh.
And so I felt, well, if I want to work for UN on that thing, then of course I needed a professional counseling degree. And that
Yeah.
is actually what brought me to the United States. So in 2000, when I came in, I went and found a school. And then 2002, no, in 2002 when I came in. So 2003 when I came, I actually went back to school, and I started my undergrad. So I did Human and Family Services from Southwestern Christian University here in Bethany. And then I did my master's in the University of Oklahoma. I did an it's an HR program, but our emphasis was on counseling. And that's how I became a professional counselor here. Now, when I started coming to the state, my cousins used to go to a church, and that's where Pastor Prosper, my friend, goes to. It's International Victory Charismatic Church, a very beautiful church here in Del City. The pastor is Reverend Harry Johnson. So they introduced me to the church, so I became part of the church. And I served the church faithfully for 14 years as an associate pastor. Now, all these years that I served as an associate pastor, I thought my thing was to be a cheerleader, and that's what I call myself. In everything I see, I always want people to go above what I can do. So when people come in my life, I cheer them up to just, hey, you can build a house. When
Yeah.
somebody comes in my life, I cheer the person on, no, you can do this. And I've been an encourager and help people in a lot of ways. And so in the church, I lifted up the hands of the pastor, held his hands, and supported him through his ministry and everything. But it was in 2014, a year before 2014, I've spoken to him and said, there was something on my heart I felt God is calling me to do, but I did not know what it was. So, hey, if you can help me, pray. And so that was my first point of contacting him. And then in 2014, my wife, my entire family, we went to Ghana. And when I was in Ghana, the Lord spoke to my heart. He gave me a scripture from Hebrews 6. And it talks about, it says, through faith and patience, you will inherit your promise. So when I came, it was there because even prior to that, every time I told my wife, there is something I think I need to get out and do for the Lord. My wife said, no, it is not today. I had a lot of opportunities to start a church, to start a ministry, to even pull Samaritan's Press to Oklahoma, but in all, my wife always said, no, I don't think it is. This is it. I don't feel it. I don't hear God saying it because the two of us are one. And every time he said that, I said, okay. I had great dreams about, and if I tell you my dream, every dream I've had, most of it has been me with presidents, advising presidents and talking to presidents. And so I went home in 2010 thinking it was a political call. So I went home and canvassed, I'm from Nungwa, canvassed Nungwa to see if it's actually political. And I tell you, I have a lot of favor. My dad had good friends, and I had a lot of favor. That I thought, man, I can make it. I can become a minister. I can do something. But when I came back, I was sharing my dream with one Reverend George Abuchi. He is in London. When I told him my dream, he says, Michael, this is not what it is. It is not about politics. It is that God wants you to begin a ministry through which is going to bring great men into your life.
Wow.
And that settled me. So when we went back, my wife and I knew about this. And so when we went back in 2014, when I had the peace about, no, you got to go do something. You have to start something. God is calling you to something. It was that same month back home that my wife came to me and said, I think it is time for you to begin what God is calling you to do.
Oh.
I have actually raised very great men. And one of the sons I'm very proud of is Reverend Eric Butcher. He's well known in Ghana. Reverend Eric Butcher, he was even in Virginia for a while. But I think he's now back in. Every time I left Ghana, he and the wife were the people who took care of our house. So they stayed in our house, but he's a humble man and he learned from us. And I tell you, he's very successful. I have people that really, really studied under me who I preached in their churches or spoke, but I never saw myself above any of those pastors. I never compared myself to any pastor. And my wife always kept me in line. If I brought something up, he told me, no, it is not the time. But when the time came in 2014, when we were home, she said, Michael, this is it. There were times that I could not even sleep. I had sleepless nights, will cry through my night, and will be speaking to either praying or talking to one of the presidents here in the United States or praying for a president back in Ghana. And I have every conversation that I had with them. But they were in my dreams. She would tell me it is not yet time. So when we all agreed that it was time, that was when we separated ourselves. We went to our pastor back again and said, Bishop, this is what the Lord is saying to us, and we're going to go out of the church. And so we did not rebel. We did not do anything. He gave us a date to send us out. And our pastor actually brought us to the front. And I tell you, he really, really, look, my success in ministry was because that man spoke over my life. My pastor, Reverend Harry Johnson, he spoke over my life. He prayed every prayer, and I tell you, the prayer he prayed was out, and you can feel when something is coming out of somebody. It wasn't him acting. The Lord used his mouth and spoke oracles, spoke greatness over us. And so right after that, we left church, and we stayed home for months. There were a lot of challenges and a lot of things happened, but we stayed home for a month, and then on the 9th of August, we started Praise Church. And we'll say, coming the 9th will be 5 years, and it's a beautiful church. It's a multicultural church. There is no church that you'll find love in the whole of in this world than when you walk in. When you walk in, I tell you, it is a gracious place, it is peaceful, and you feel belonged. And that's what it is.
I can't wait to visit. Sounds amazing.
We can't wait to have you.
It does sound amazing. I would love to come see Mrs. Annancy, eat some cocoa. That cocoa is on my bucket list at the moment. I want to test the cocoa, which grabs the heart of us.
It's chibum.
Oh, it was the chibum more than the cocoa.
It's a chibum. Yeah. Oh, it's a cocoa. Oh, all right, I got you. Okay. Yeah, it's a cocoa drink. Yeah. The cocoa drink always went with a chibum. And yeah, that's right. The fried eggs. That's right.
I can't wait to taste it.
Yeah.
So I can take the recipe for my daughter and she can grab anybody she wants.
Yeah.
Welcome everybody. So listen, it's one of those things which is not what most of you expect when you come to the platform. But I suppose when you come on my platform, one of the things you expect is the unexpected. I don't really script. I don't do what is usual and what's not. We do the political shows. Actually, I have exciting news for you. Touch wood, everything being equal. Tomorrow evening, I am bringing you Auntie Ekuyaboko live. I can't believe I'm actually saying that. But touch wood, we will have the technology and everything in place. You know, Auntie Ekuya is an elderly woman. There's a lot of things that have to, it's not like the rest of the other guys where you send them a link and they just get on. But all things being equal, tomorrow evening, I will get Auntie Ekuya live with us, talking about what makes a woman like her go into politics and challenge everybody else, against all the odds. But that's what we do. And I want to talk to Pastor Anansi. I want to understand where he's coming from. I want you to feel the progress he's made in the hope. The stories like that would inspire you. Stories like that would motivate you. Stories like that will calm your nerve because a lot of us, I struggle to stay calm and wait. It is so difficult. And so when you hear somebody who's waited 14 years in somebody else's ministry before he moves on to his own, teaches you a lot of lessons. Before he even said that, for me, the most profound thing was staying 3 months with somebody with no pay and saying nothing. 3 months, no pay, nothing, and just waiting. Nana, you know my love for you is very deep. It's really good to see you. Very good to see you guys. Thank you so much for joining. Hopefully, you are getting as inspired as I am. Hopefully, you are also picking life lessons from the conversation the way I am. For a lot of women now, it would be a good lesson for us to learn how to homely. Being homely is one of the virtues of a woman, not aggravating situations. If you listen to the story very carefully, his wife is very influential, but very understated. When she says no, he doesn't go anywhere. But she doesn't strike me as the kind of woman who is in your face. She just does her manipulation quietly and calmly whilst feeding you and making you very comfortable and happy. And that's wisdom. That's wisdom a lot of us need to learn. A lot of us need to adapt to exist in peaceful homes. I like that. Yes, pastor sounds good compared to the president. Well, pastor's problems and the president's problems are not the same size. The ministry and a lot of people, that's a big job. But managing a nation, that's a different thing.
That's a different job.
Pastor, I'm back. I'm back to ministry and Mrs. Anansi still because I find her fascinating.
Yeah.
What role does Mrs. Anansi play in ministry?
Well, my beautiful wife's first role is to me. She's my helpmate. So we pastor the church together, but she is not a pastor. She also went 3 years to Bible school, but and because I pastor, she pastors alongside with me. She is not a of mommy of the church. Um, when I well, that's because when you say of mommy or the women's ministry head, many people think in every church the pastor's wife should be in charge of that. I learned this from Reverend George Abuchi. That is, when the women have a meeting, and that's what one of when all the women meet and have a meeting, and your wife is part of it, the head of that organization is part of it, and there is no understanding or the what do you call it? There's no agreement to what you guys are talking about. Who is the next person to take it to? So my wife is not the head of the women's ministry. The women's ministry have their heads. So they have a head there, they have their secretary, they have all those people. My wife is part of it. But when they come to a point and they need a final decision, they go to her. And that's her role in the church. So her role is first to me, to the family, because when I'm home and I'm going through difficulties, she's the only person who knows what I go through. When I'm having challenges and troubles, she's the only one who uh, knows what I go through. So she is there for me. And what she does is that she helps me, checks me, makes sure I'm in line with what I have to do to help the church, to help the family, to help the body of Christ grow. So she pastors with me, but she is not a pastor who preaches on Sundays. She may have an opportunity to say something, do something, but no, she doesn't pastor alongside with when I say pastor alongside, I mean she doesn't stand on the pulpit and minister on Sundays. It's not something she cannot, but that's not her office. Her office is to me, and she's a prayer warrior. My wife is a dangerous woman. She prays. Yeah. Yeah, when you have a woman with wisdom and praise, you will be successful. She prays. Yeah. And so, yeah, I can be laying in bed and she'll be standing over me with her hands stretched over me. And I don't know. I wake up and say, "What are you doing?" She says, "I'm praying that you'll be a good man." And that's what she does. She's
Okay,
sweet.
that's interesting. So some of us we protect ourselves with pintua. Other people, some of us make sure our husbands are good men with pintua. Other people make sure their men are good by waking up to see her over you. You
Yeah.
know what you do at midnight whilst you are busy sleeping.
Yes.
Hello, Mugabe. Hi, everybody. So it's interesting. I mean, that's she sounds very similar to my mom. My mom is one of those women. When you first see her, she's very understated. If you are not observant, you would think that she's timid, and she's not.
Mm.
My mom is the string puller in the background. She
Mm-hmm.
is the architect of everything, but doesn't really front anything. She just stays in the background and she does her pulling and stringing and whatnot. Right. We are talking to Reverend Anansi. I wanted to talk to him about his ministry because I know there are lessons to be picked up. I am picking so many lessons from this one, and I hope you are as well. I wanted to hear the background he's from because there's a lot of asofo coming from that background. I'm very keen to know. I want to know what the formula is. And he says the formula might be his mom. It might also be a guy who worked with his parents as a watchman, the night watchman who used to teach them. So that's very good. Very good. Yes, Sister Eunice. She's a very proud wife indeed. She sounds like, well, he's very lucky to have that kind of wife.
He's blessed.
He is very, very lucky that she might not be in my Pentagon. Oh, there's another Nancy who stand up. Jake Mensa Nancy. Hi. It's a fascinating family, I've got to tell you.
Yeah.
Since I came across them, every time you hear a facet of the story, I'm like, oh my God, how is this even possible? So I wanted to talk to Osofo. I wanted to understand. I'm hoping it's a feel-good story. It's a feel-good interview. It's one of those stories which shows you life doesn't necessarily have to be bitter.
Mm-hmm.
His life really sounds like it's been a steady, nothing major has robbed anything. It's not the greatest height. It's not the lowest lows. It's just pitched right. And if you are having one of those kind of lives, sometimes you're just waiting for something to go wrong. But he proves that it's possible to carry on living like that for quite a while. Nothing major going anywhere, just enjoying grace as you go right through. And that has really enthused me. It's calmed my nerves. I hope those of you who've picked up any other lessons apart from what I've picked up, please feel free to put it in the comments. I want to know what you are learning. If you're a single woman, you need to go see Mrs. Anansi and learn the cocoa drink and
Yeah.
chibo. It seems to work a lot. Mhm. If you're a young man, if you're a young man who's looking for, I mean, it tells you that the way to a man's heart, as they say, might still be in the stomach in some cases. So maybe we ought to be looking at the stomach and making sure that we're checking the pathway from there to the heart. The Sheriff, hi. Good afternoon, everybody. It's good to see you. Really
Yeah.
good to see you.
I,
And
I, I'm gonna keep talking. So I have to pick something and put it back right now.
Oh, sure, no problem. I
Yeah.
think we said, but personally, you think they have come this far by the grace of God. And secondly, their mom, she is a prayer warrior and her voice is divine. I want to meet their mom. I really want to meet their mom. And I want to meet his wife. They sound like iconic women. I mean, it's a lesson for a lot of young men looking to choose. Who you choose determines a lot of things about the existence you have. If you would have a peaceful marriage, a peaceful existence, the person you choose to make home with plays a key role. The honesty in choosing the person you need plays a phenomenal role. There is no point pretending to want and to need what does not work for you. Hi, Sheriff. Good afternoon, Lydia. It's and you choose what works for you. You find where your niche is. You stay in your niche and you thrive in your niche. And that's the general theme of this conversation, really. This is the general conversation we are busy having. Welcome back, Asamu.
Yeah. Thank you. I had to run quickly and get my daughter was hitting the door and she's outside. I wanted to be with her for yeah. Thank you for your patience with me.
Our story continues. Yeah, Nana is throwing all the things I do. Please check them out.
Yeah.
Uh, Putting all the things I do. Check them out. Ask me questions after the interview if any of those things might be useful to you. And we continue the conversation with Osof. So, Osof, I have a question.
Yes,
A
ma'am.
question, if you like. Having lived your life the way you have, if I brought you a young child, say a 10-year-old, and I asked you to use your life as a model to advise this child how to go through life, what would you say to them?
Well, I'm. It's very important. Our young ones needs people they can look up to.
Yeah.
Every gift we've been given, or every blessing we've received, is actually for us to pass on. I think if I have somebody I'm going to raise, and even here at the church, I have a lot of young guys who look to me, they come to me, we talk about issues. I think one of the things I'm going to teach them is patience.
Mm,
We have a generation that think we have to praise them through everything. They clean their room, they want you to praise them. They do anything for you, and they think, well, it's a duty, not a privilege. But I want them to understand that yes, everything that they do in our time, and for everything that we give to them, because I did not get. Well, I was blessed by my parents, but not everything I wanted was available at that time. Now everything is available. But what our young ones need to understand is patience is a key. It's one important thing that all of us should have. If I have somebody I'm bringing back right now, the first thing I want to sit with the person, for the person to understand is to find who that person is. But in all, to teach the person, it takes us to go from an A to a B.
mm,
Going from A to a B is a process.
mm,
And many of us we the process is what because all of us we know what we want to be in future even when we're getting married when we have children and we start a business and everything we know where we want to end and we can tell what our future is and where we want to get to but the process of going from A to B has always been the challenge. That is where people fall out. That is where people fail because they take certain things on which they're not supposed to and that's where I'm going to teach. If I'm teaching somebody now, I'm teaching somebody to walk through patience. You cannot get to where people are overnight. You need
mm,
to study them. You need to find out what they did. And I ask a lot of questions. I've surrounded myself with some great pastors that I listen to their tapes and I go to their conferences. And I have a pastor, Pastor Steve Eden, with Grace Church. He's one of my buddy. We've been friends and we go to lunch and talk about our ministry, talk about our life, and talk about our lives and how to improve our lives. So that's one of the things. If I have somebody to teach, I'm going to teach the person to get to that place is a process. There is no shortcuts. people emotionally feel, well, I want to be this person. I want to be that person. That might be not be who you are or created for. And in the process of becoming somebody who is not who you are, you will destroy your life. So I want to teach people there is a process as to getting everything. You want to be a pastor, it takes a process. You cannot just jump one day, carry a Bible and say, no, you need a lot of pulpit etiquette. You need you need a lot of patience. You have to find what audience am I going to be speaking to? What is their qualification? So if you have to have to be patient and add value to yourself before you come out, you will do. I know a lot of pastors who are messing up because they don't have no pulpit etiquette. They say anything they want to say. And you see, there's two things. It's also because the audience who are listening are not ready to educate themselves. So every that is sent, they just buy it. And that is becoming one of the problems also we're having back home with some of the pastors we're raising back there. So I want people to understand that it's a process to everything. You have to go from A to B, but in going through that, there is a process you have to follow. And if you're patient, you get there. If you're patient, you get there.
You've almost answered Ganasse's question. He says, Sir, please, do you think everybody that has the call of God upon their life should go to the Bible school, or can they still study from great men like you?
And let me add a little bit. Yeah, the Bible school is supposed to give you structure. That is what it is. The Bible school cannot put in you what God wants to put in you. Men can make you pastors. There are men who tell you, man, you are great. The way you speak, the way you talk, the way you do things, man, you can be a pastor. And some people have gone ahead of that and messed up their life. Yeah. And you know, you can also, some people out of failure can decide, man, there's nothing for me to do. I can't go to school. I can't get this. Man, I know how to just read a scripture and just get a few people. No, that is not what it is. We are supposed to feed the sheep. And if you're feeding a sheep, you're a shepherd. It means that you have to lay down your life for the people. You're not going in for self-interest. You're going in to benefit the people. What are the people's needs? And who is giving you that office? If God gave you the office, then God will give you a word to give to them always. And that's what we have to understand. So it's not something you just rush in. I love Bible school. I went to Bible school 3 years plus a year of missions. And I was very successful in that. My very good friend, Pastor Steve, did not take up a Bible school. He just listened to tapes, and because he had a calling, he had a passion. See, the first thing we have to understand, you have to have a passion and ask yourself, is this of God or is it of me? If your motive is ulterior, and it's because of money, it's because you want to manipulate people, it's because you want to know, you will fail. Because anything that is not of God, if it is tried in the fire, it will come out what it is. And at the long run, yeah, you'll be tried. Pastoralship is not an easy job. You're dealing with people. People are the most difficult. Look, it's very difficult to deal with people. I tell you, even in our homes, it's difficult to deal even with our own children. How much more you having a congregation and working with them? It is very difficult because everybody has an agenda. But we're looking at what is the vision for which is been given to you to follow. So yes, without a Bible school, if you have a calling of God, if you can study, if you can take your time and understand scripture, how to interpret scripture, have pulpit etiquettes, stay away from the gold. Hey, the gold, stay away from the girls, stay away from the glory. You can be successful. And let me add this also. Every office that we occupy, the president's office, it takes a special grace. The husband's office, as a husband, it takes a special grace. The wife's office takes a special grace. The pastor's office takes a special grace. So if you don't have gracing for what you're called into, you will frustrate that call. And that's a secret to everything. There are people who, I tell you, go to work every day and they feel, man, this is a difficult. They don't have the grace for it. Their passion is not there. Because when you have passion, I tell you, there is something in you that will engineer you to do whatever you're doing. When I hear you speak, when I hear the way you do things, I can tell you have passion for educating and talking to people. And because of doing it, does not become a job for you. Because when you don't see what you do as a vocation, I tell you, if you ask my church members, everybody knows this is where I stay. I love my church. I love the people. And I love just coming around and just, even today is a holiday here in the US. but I'm already here because I love the place, but I just want to just come by and see. I have a passion for what God has called me to do. And so it gives me that motivation, that engineering spirit for me to do what I'm doing. And I tell you, I don't sweat it. I don't sweat it.
That's amazing. I mean, there are times when I will be here talking my nonsense and people will call me, hey, Amma. Especially when I feel provoked to talk about a moral issue or whatever. People are like, you could be a really good teacher of the word. And I'm like, you don't understand the responsibility that is. I am not called to that higher office. I am just called to teach. I think a lot of people confuse the ability to teach with the ability to pastor, and they are not the same. The
No,
ability to sing with
no.
the ability to nurture a congregation. It takes a whole lot more than that. Yes, Nanase. So your question is answered. Thank you. Hello, Saida. It's really good to see you, sis. Well, I'm talking to Reverend Michael Annancy. I'm hoping that those of you who are watching also get the same vibe I get from talking to Pastor Michael. It's really refreshing to talk to him. It's really it's calming to talk to him. It gives you a lot of hope that things could be well. Things will be
Yeah.
fine. You don't have to be flamboyant. You don't have to strive all the time to gain. You can wait, and what is yours will come to you.
Will come to you.
That's a huge lesson. That's a huge lesson because for most of us, striving to get is what you know. But that lesson there is you don't always have to strive. You just need to find your place.
That's
You need
right.
to find your role. You need to bid your time for 14 years, being an associate pastor for somebody. Learn well, serve well, and be blessed when you leave. And that's the key thing with a lot of us. Most of us don't know how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Go and attempt to support people, but we are there to take out of them. We are there to stand on their shoulders to jump. We are not really there to support and build with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way actually to go with the lessons you need to succeed easily. Big lesson there. You need to wait and get the blessings in order to make your transition easier.
That's right.
Make it all fall in place a lot easier. I don't know what you've learned, but the ones I've learned, I've clearly told you and I have shared. Please put what you've learned in the comments. Let's all collate learning because sometimes I may not have picked up certain things. Sometimes you might not have picked up certain things. And if we all share graciously, we might all learn more from the conversation. So this is Reverend Michael Annancy, a Ghana man from Takwa. Ghana is an interesting place, isn't it now?
Yeah, very interesting.
You cannot claim to be Ghana because you didn't even grow up in that area. So
um, I, I,
Takwa,
I speak the Fanti. My wife taught me the Chi.
yeah?
So those two are, and for our family, my brothers and us, my brothers, my sisters, that's all we speak. We speak the Fanti. It's only when we speak to our mom that we speak Ga. So our Ga is even a little bit rusty, but it's good. It's good for conversation.
And when you speak to Pastor Frederick, he comes, he presents as a very typical Ghana from Takwa. And I'm like,
He's trying to find his place. He's trying to just, yeah, but he's a good guy. Very
now, no, his secret is out. He's a very Ghana from Takwa.
good.
That's all I'm saying at the moment. But yeah, this is Pastor Anansi. He is a Ghana from Takwa. He was wooed by a young lady with cocoa drink and chibo.
That's right. I agree.
Wooed by a young lady with cocoa drink and chibo.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Served with somebody for 3 months without salary. I thought that was sensational. And then I discovered that he's actually worked in somebody else's ministry for 14 years before branching to set up his own. He is a man who teaches patience, really. His life teaches you a lot of waiting.
Yes, a lot of weight.
That are yours come to you eventually. You just have to learn to wait. You don't have to strive for it. That is what I have picked. And I can't thank Pastor Michael enough. We will come to the ministry. I will bring you on one of those days, and you will tell me what you do in details in ministry. I
That's right.
want to know what you do with young people because a bird whispered in my ear some of the things you do in the ministry. So I would want to talk about that in detail. But I want when we sit down to talk about the ministry, I want it to be 100% just about the ministry. But
That's
today, I want your life would be inspirational for people. I hope that it has been. It clearly has been inspirational for me. Join me, audience, in thanking Pastor Michael Annancy for his patience and his time.
right.
And the floor is yours. If you have any further questions before we thank him finally, please put the questions out. Let me put it to Reverend Anansi so that he might graciously answer, like Nana say has, and you will pick your answers from there. Irene says it was very educational. The pulpit etiquette was a big one with her, and it's a big one with me as well. A lot of us don't understand etiquette, full stop, be
No.
it in pulpit, be it in social interactions, be it on social media, we forgot etiquette. And it's one of the reasons why we don't seem to be capable of peacefully coexisting anymore as a group of people. We need to return to that. Adjoa says, a man with clear understanding of God and wisdom, more grace to his humility and family. I'm telling you, that it is that peaceful ambience around him. See, even I am speaking softly today.
It's Robin and Alma. Thank you, Alma.
I am speaking softly today. I've not even ground one patois today, I've been such a good girl because, yeah, he has that calming influence. He will be a nice place to run to when you need a safe haven, for sure. And those of you who are in his ministry are very blessed to get that at your disposal. So I haven't seen any questions. So I think most right. Hey, Adia, greetings, greetings from my village to you in Seattle. I hope everything is good in Seattle. Yes, Pastor Nancy has taught a few lessons for the ladies. You are enjoying the conversation, Sheila. Me too. Me too. I have loved the conversation. I think that something has keyed me today. I'm telling you. This is the calm Amamansi speaking to the calm Pastor Michael. Look, today I've been such a good girl. I'm so proud of myself.
Alma, you're always calm. Maybe you've not been told, but you're calm. Now it's just that when your passion and your goal for the thing or for what you're doing comes, you express yourself. It's emotion. It's given to us by God, so you express the emotions. They are good, and so that's right. That's right.
See, this really is holy Amma today. Yeah, it's really lovely to pick that vibe and to learn those things. I've learned a few life lessons, I've got to say, and I hope you have also learned some. I will bring you similar interviews. If you know people who would be inspirational to chat to as well, please get in my box, suggest those people so we can use this period as a period of learning and preparation. We can get ourselves a hope talking to inspirational figures in our community. And I am so blessed that I've managed to bring you a very, very bright example of figureheads in the community in Pastor Michael Annancy. Also,
Yes,
God, God
God,
bless.
God
You
bless you.
have really blessed me today.
Thank you.
Thank you so, so much. And hopefully, I will bring you back in soon to
Yeah,
come about the ministry.
amen. Thank you.
Yeah. And something can key Amma. I'm telling you, something has key Amma today. Amma has been keyed. Mommy, you thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, it's been lovely. It's been lovely. We do talk politics, we do talk strategy, we do all those things, but life is not just about that. Life is about a variety of things. Sometimes all you need is that calm voice which says, peace, be still, relax. It's not always a fight. Chill. Take it easy. Listen to that little voice in your head. And it's great. It's really great to have reminders for yourself regularly. Yes, Achma. Holy Mama. My holiness today is so evident. Oh, it's amazing. It is amazing. So pray for me. Pray for me. I have technical things to fix, but I have found somebody who says he might be able to get it to happen for me tomorrow. If everything goes well, tomorrow I will bring you. And yeah, no. Oh, I had a conversation with her this afternoon. And at the end of the conversation, just when I was signing off, she goes, and yeah, no. And I was giggling like a little kid. Oh, my kids had to come and check on me. What's wrong with you, mom? Like, I'm talking to you, I'm talking to you, and yeah, no. Yes. Hopefully, Ochina, I think that from that conversation again, a lot of you will learn many things. When you see Antioquia, for those of you who do English, that woman and her bravado in putting herself forward to contest presidential elections, knowing very well Ghana for more and I'm going to school, and at the end, but that self-belief, that patriotism to go give it a try, to put her money in. She knows she will lose a lot of it, and she's done it quite a few times, taking a few hits, but she continues. She still continues. I think there is a lesson there for Yenina. Me say, I am so keen. So keen to talk to Antioquia. The person watching me the NT warrior, the warrior. Me person be sit and near me biase. Make a date with me. I think say likely to be around between 5 and 7 p.m. GMT. Nipanwa or Papoye, your friend is a technical setup is not in baby Antioquia one. He will have to travel from one town to go to Antioquia to go and set up. So all things being equal, fingers crossed, he is able to make it to baby Oko on time, and he is able to set up so we can talk to Antioquia. Oh yes. Good evening, oh God's power media. It's saying, and I Sister Sheila. Ghana for pass me, I will not put my face forward to go and run elections in Ghana. Because I know what you people will do. Meaning said ya mube jojo me, said ya mube titi mo, said ya mube sreme. Me, I will not put myself forward. Antioquia, Mumudu Donoa will jump straight on Do you understand what it takes, the kind of character it takes to put yourself forward, even when you know and you still keep yourself, your friend is in public circles, and you manage to get yourself in the mix every now and again? She is a formidable woman. Formidable woman. Today, Mr. Jacob say he is a legend, absolute legend. He's gone to election twice. Antioquia, a legend, or by a friend, for lack of a better word, she is an icon, iconic woman. She is. But she has put her name forward in a way a lot of you are scared to do. You should be in your communities contesting for MPs, but you are fearless. You have political ambition. Chickens, quack, 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 quack. You have not moved. Obi de ne ho ni din kwa na motachire na mosre, but munyina munya nka mobeye ehufuo na moye fearless. Ebia china ye de anti akua di nkomo ni wi a kwan chickens no mumu bi wo ha mo be pie free nkokobo na mo hunu se mon so nation building requires you. Patriotism should call your blood a little bit. You need to become a little bit more active in service. It is going to be very good. So don't come to that interview with one professor Kankai. Right? More ayana concert before you come on that show tomorrow, make sure you are wearing your respect hat. Make sure. So when you be and send one show so. Or China show no, I have absolutely no tolerance for xenophobia. Baby Sawasen, my name but you come there respecting the iconic woman I am about to interview. You see yourself in her in such a way that she has won your respect. Means so she has more than my respect. I spoke to her today. that the way she was gracious to me, only me baby out. There hasn't been any prompting. Me and Cousin me do one eventually. Minyano. Of our phone one I say, Auntie Hosie. Now why it was like talking to my mom. I'm telling you, it was amazing. And just as I am fiercely protective of my mom, I will scratch your eyeballs out. That is the same thing I promise you will happen on the show, Ochina. Oh, blessed beyond belief. I know, sir, I would but those of you who can take it is where she dishes it. She's got her head screwed on the very right way, believe me. Enti Antioquia Bachana, you be Shianyama or Antioquia. We will respect ourselves and we will come and we will learn. Because ye baby, you know, only pa one who school. Name near my warrior. More Mako school, you could certificate to be beginning in a way of maybe a baby channel. We might learn a few things about determination. We might learn a few things about nation building and all the characters we need to make it happen. And to make that date for me, pray for me. Say echina mabua for a bit me up on me. Yet many anti call. Yankopon as you do. Catch you soon.